might be making trims. Like, you know, you got a skirting board, and then between the skirting board and the wall, sometimes you got a trim. That's like a giant planer with all these different shaped trims. Some strange stuff, but I never knew that existed to them. I've got stuff like this at home. My grandfather's got one of those sort of ones. Well, he did have when he was alive. We've got a few of these hanging around home. Stores. And we also have a couple of these style saws. I've got one that's bent like a banana sitting at the back of the house. It's a bit of a shame, but my father's got some real deal ones. And how is this? This is a lathe. Yeah, wooden frame and 2 bits of right angle. And then basically your lathe head, some good bearings, and it's belt driven with your different gears for your belt drive. This is the sort of stuff they make in Pakistan still today to make homemade guns that are so close to the real deal that the only way you can tell the difference is if they spell the safe fire incorrectly in Russian on the AK-47 selector, or basically the weight is different because your proper AKs are a lot heavier than your ones made in Pakistan at a mild steel that you don't really want to be using too heavily in case the mild steel bolt lugs break off. But they make stuff like this in Pakistan and use it to manufacture copies of AK-47s. The Taliban, meanwhile, goes and buys proper ones from Chinese manufacturers. Actually, I have a level like that at my house, or I think my grandfather had one of those. And we've got one sitting around anyway, old style level like that. I've seen some of these around. I think they're like planes, essentially. This here is a wall press. Bloody big crank handle. There's your ratchet there, with ours the ratchet's up the side. I'll show you how we release a ratchet with ours. Well, this one's down the base by the looks. And a big handle. And she goes in and you can press her down. And here would be another one. A little bit more heavy duty than what we got, for the basic reason that it's all wood, not steel. Well, mainly wood, because that one's just straight steel. At a later point, they have already, at a later point they're going to shear a couple of these. There's your real off-grid cultivation. An old ball player. Dad talks about these often enough. Geez, you could do with another lick of paint that's friggin' lighting on the thing. Probably been sitting in the back of the shed for a while. These are rippers too. He knew somebody who used to have one of these that they made themselves. Basically big belt drive motor and your big wheel there. With these, you can put logs on there. And his sister's neighbour's got one like this that's driven off of belts, as in your big style, steam style belts. No, actually he's a 3-point linkage on a tractor, or the power takeoff, and hooks onto the 3-point linkage. With these anyway, you get your log and you don't get your saw and push it into your log. You sit your log on your bench and you push your bench into your saw. And yeah, I mean, you can cut whole friggin' trees with this thing. Once you chop the tree down with a chainsaw, and you get a forklift or loader or whatever to lift your log into place, or you cut it up in a long enough length that you and somebody else can lift on, you know, the log. Then you can cut it into foot-long lengths to chuck in your wood heater after you split them, obviously, if you're going to split them. Just another one I've seen, similar one to this, where it's you got a engine and basically your saw blade, except the one I saw last time and showed last time at the Goldsmith Steam Rally wasn't quite a bigger blade as that, and that blade is actually brand bloody new. You've probably got someone to copy it with a plasma cutter and then gone and sharpened the teeth individually after they've made one of those with a plasma cutter. Oh, there's one of the old blades with the same thing. Yeah, bolt your log in place. Well, hold it down. That's truck tie downs. I used to use those when I was in my apprenticeship to hold down the steel I-beams on the back of the trucks. And yeah, just chop through it. One is chopped up there, about a foot long. As soon as you go chop, 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 and then you set them all on the ground, go whack, 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 split them all with your log splitter. Billy's old chainsaw. I had a flaming old Billy is like that, and I don't know what happened to it, if it got chucked out or whatever. We've also got some very, very old Victors that we could never get going. Probably encourage the old man to give it away to some of the clubs like this. He was wondering what to do, and he said, scrap metal or something. I said, bullshit. You know, there's people who like that stuff. We should give it to somebody who's interested. So with a bit of encouragement, we could never get the damn thing going, the old Victor Moe. I don't know what the hell was going on, but a bit of encouragement, I reckon I could talk him into giving it away to a club like this who would actually appreciate it. This is a beauty. Friggin' meat mincer. Feed your mince in and off you go. Yeah. I reckon they found that in very poor condition, and they've tried to fix it up from then. It's German, and they're not quite sure on the date it was built, because the factory was bombed in World War II, so they didn't have all the drawings left to show the designs from year to year of the ones they made, or model to model. I think it's a little bit, I mean, 3 horsepower for a mincer, I think it's a little bit overkill. They could probably run something like that off a about 500 watt engine, I reckon. This, my friends, is a real water pump. I don't know why there's water pissing outside there. It may be leaking out of the tank. But look at the size of the pipe on the damn thing. That is bloody believable. This sort of same about belt drive. You have your belt, you've got a slightly curved pulley set up, and often when they take it back, they won't just go straight back. What they'll do is they go twist it over, and then it'll go back to your device. And they have well, I've got a tractor with one of those pulley setups on the side. A lot of the old tractors in the 60s did, because people would buy a new tractor, but they still had this sort of stuff from the 1920s and the turn of the century, and they continue to use it with that tractor. And yeah, I've actually seen drill presses and everything run with pulleys like that. A whole cluster of different things out here. We might go out and have a look. Some of these have been used for a tractor pull to try and show the strength of them by pulling something full of water that drops down as they move on. If I am not incorrect, that would be some sort of a giant baler. Looks like a tow behind, powered by Fordson motor, which is basically a Ford tractor motor made in England, as so many old machinery in Australia is made in England. Not surprisingly, as being part of the Empire only a few years previous. Yeah, we had a lot of British tools, British heritage and whatnot. A handful of American things, particularly firearms, and a hell of a lot of double-barrel British shotguns, but a hell of a lot of British equipment, and then some of the stuff we had was made by ourselves. Self-tying baler. This is another baler. It uses wire, as they did before they used plastic twine. There we go once again. Pick up tines down below. Set up, puts them through an auger, and there's some sort of compressing mechanism or something. I haven't actually ever seen these before at all. It's got an engine that obviously needs restoring. Yeah, it's your pickup tines. This is what picks up your hay off the ground, these little spikes. And they're on spring-loaded little doovers. And there'd be like 4 or 5 of them, and they just keep spinning around. But that's, yeah, what they even have in new balers today, same sort of a thing to pick up the hay off the ground. I suppose you stick with what works, you know.
Good hands, walk classes, and first run will start at 7:30. We'll go from 7:30 to 9:30. Then you have a half-hour break. And then we go from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. We have a 1-hour break. You probably think, what are we doing an hour? A long time up. You sit around, we don't sit around. Might be pressing a bit of wool or touching up their cones and cutters. It's all about preparation. And they rest the course. 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Then we have a half-hour break. Then we go from 3:30 to 5:30. So they call them runs. It's 1 run, 2 runs, 3 runs, 4 runs. They're breaking the run. When we talk about shearers, we talk about stands. So here today, we're a 1-stand set. If we had more shearers there, 1, 2, 3, and maybe 4 over there, would be 5-stand sets. Back in the old days, you go to a shearing shed. This is called a raised board. It's a little bit easier in my back. When Neil finishes a sheep, I can come and pick the police up, go down, throw it on the wool table, and you might have a wool plaster there, and a rouse of bed will skirt the police. If you go to a lot of the traditional sheds around Milan and Rosewood, whoever works,
they go from basically the belly up to the neck, and then they peel off.
You've got to bend down, get down your knees, prepare the police,
go from
pick it up the way you go.
Left side over his
shearing shed rates, your shearers rates now. Most shearers charge, what do you use, Trevor? $3? $3 depending on the sheep. I think the rate's $287, $100 or...
And if you get rams, they'll want 4 or 5 bucks
rams are double the rate. Stud ewes are probably 1.5 the rate. If you ever want to learn anything more about shed rates, and you've got a young bloke who's looking for a job, he might be 17 or 18, just finished school, you can Google Australian shearing contractor. I've got a mate at the moment.
As I was saying, you got from the left side, round to the back.
Working at Hay. Hay's a fairly long way from here. Starts uni in 3 weeks.
Around to the right.
Physiotherapist. At the moment, he's earning $200 a day as a rouseabout. So you can earn $1,000 a week. Don't be skilled. He's got a good work ethic, so he'll be working his backside up there. Big shed. Hot days, all 40 degrees hot days. No open air like this. Probably the shed will be a little bit lower. They cut the couple of furnace back in the 80s.
Around his chest.
And I finished working sheds in 89. I used to work jocks. Fair dinky down your jock. Just about. Your jock for a pair of shorts, swear to be running off you. You're glad to see the end of Friday night. What else can I tell you?
Yeah, it's pretty much done.
We talked about some rates. As I said, get hands, you're a young fella, you could earn $1,087 weekly, $54 per run. If you're under 18 years of age, with less than 65 days work experience, you get 70% of the rate. That's if you're under 18. You could have a 15 or 16-year-old boy or girl, doesn't like school, like boys who hate school. I've still got one at school. You go in there in a couple of weeks.
Pretty significant.
Wall presses get paid
double the size of
by
the ones that cut off.
The old days,
But the quality's pretty low. I can see the wrinkles from here, which means it's really
you use pins and
carpet
by hand, you can trump them down like this, but now the old wall presses
carpet
now.
Realistically, they would have been normally shorn during Christmas, just before Christmas. Here we are, 21st of February.
They get paid a rate, probably the wall presses not a bad thing. The run goes fairly quick.
And they're a big breed of sheep, but they're not a wool breed. Just
you do it by hand.
Crapo carpet grade. And if you look to the wrinkles here, that's definitely carpet grade.
Not bad money.
All
classing, probably all class back in the 80s. Probably back in 84, 85, I was earning well over $1,000 a week back then. Once you get paid, you're the boss of the board, you get paid a kilo rate on the travel, 78 cents per kilo. In the case of wet sheep, we turn up here today, ladies and gentlemen, we've got wet sheep. The sheep are a bit wet. So Trevor said to me over here, he's short 1 million sheep this man over here. Sophie man here, he's done well over 1 million. So I reckon the sheep are wet. What they'll do, they'll shear 2 sheep, and then a vote will be cast in the presence of maybe the owner or the wool passer, and then they might be voted out wet. But 8:30 in the morning, Monday morning, tomorrow morning, we got wet sheep. The shearer doesn't get paid, he goes home, they're voted out wet. But now, you turn up as a shed hand, you get paid a minimum of 2 runs. Back in the 80s, if I'm the contractor, so you're the boss, you're paying the wages, wet sheep, these blokes go
my uncle actually used to deliberately wet his wool to increase the weight paid by the weight of wool. So he'd be there trying to spray the damn shit with a hose to get the weight up.
Back in the 80s.
Dodgy, but that was the uncle trying to make it extra
very quickly. So now they're more protected, where you won't get a full day's wages, but you get paid a minimum of 2 runs. You get a half day's pay. So that's protect the contractor. That's the case of wet sheep.
This guy is surprisingly good.
A shearer might refuse to shear sheep that are cancerous, suffering from scabby mouth or wounds or maggots. So the sheep in there's got a scabby mouth. Trevor or whoever may refuse, or Neil may refuse to shear, and that's fair enough.
Well, you had an outbreak of scabby mouth
or maggot, why would you pick it up? Why would you put yourself at risk?
Jesus,
as I said, the shearing contractors, Google shearing contractors tonight.
We use it probably be.
They're all over Australia. New South Wales, Queensland. Stay on side. It's a great opportunity. White combs. See the white comb over there, number 8. Number 9 is an error comb. Back in 1983, there was a dispute with Australia White
and New Zealand White.
Australian wool industry apart. We're where the news put his head off. New Zealanders that come in, take all their work. They work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And the Aussie shearers got very, very upset. And there's a strike, went on for 10 weeks. So as I said, they worked Saturday and Sunday. The New Zealanders,
was all to do with the width of the combs, I think, the strike.
They'd have tea or before tea, then they go for 10k run. Then they come back and they lift weights for half hour. That's fair income. What is it? They would. That's what they do. They're bloody machines, big honking blokes. But then in 1984, as I said, the white combs were introduced by the New Zealanders. And in 1984, Australia became the last country in the world to permit the use of white combs. The 1984 was
so that gives you like an extra inch worth of cutting.
Yeah, we're talking about some big gentlemen here and these fellas here probably see 200 sheep a day. What do you do, Pep? 200? A day. A couple hundred, crossbred, 150. Dwayne Black is on curve at 2002.
Taking back a few memories, but this is a strange design. How these basically work, your rails that you have your ropes tied off onto on the truck, you have this hooked onto. I think there's two. I think there's a straight one, usually one that just comes straight out the side, and then another one that's on an angle. My boss used to have like 3 of these things, but this is a very odd one. Usually you have an elevator system that, you know, the chain I was showing you that I picked up out of the ground, that's that same chain, and it runs on cogs like that, usually with a little bearing and a grease nipple, and that one obviously runs onto that as well. They drive off of the wheel, one of the wheels, and ones we had were basically like a chain system, but they'd have notches, and you'd have another piece on the top which had springs to push it down, and as the bale had come in and started to go up, the spring piece would push it onto the notches that were coming out of the chain, and the chain would just follow right up the way through, and then you'd have your drive like that, and it would just keep, you just hear it come along, and then it just get to the top, and then it would come out at the top, and you'd take it off. Our ones, of course, go in there and come out there and sort of turn sideways, but this one comes in here and is very strange, very, very strange, because these are spring-loaded pieces, and I actually grab the sides of it, not the top or the bottom, and lift it up, go around and spit it out, and obviously that there grabs hold of it, that's also on the drive, and then spits it out here, and you grab it here. And basically you just drive along with the truck on the side of the paddock, and you have your rear view mirror set up so that you can line up your bales for this thing, and then you've got 2 guys on the back stacking the bales. And that was what I'd done for quite a lot actually. I used to, I was on all right money for the day. It was, shit, I got to try and work this out. So around the time I got my first car on propane, yes, 2004 would have been, and I was clearing $770 a week, most weeks. Well, that was my first week, but yeah, $770 to $790 a week I was clearing. I was working bloody big weeks. 70 hours was a normal week, 65 to 70 hours a week, and yeah, I was definitely turning the cash. And I remember I come out of there after working there for 7 or 8 months, and yeah, basically got my car on propane and went berserk buying tools, and a lot of those tools I'm still using today, and I've still got them, and some of I have never even actually used, or only used once or twice. They're the ones that are over at my father's shed in the big toolboxes. Anyway, this is this thing. Basically got like a crankshaft, like a circular bit to spin it away there. There's your crank, so to speak. Yeah, the yellow handle which cuts through your logs. This is obviously a pretty old flaming log. She's all split. So Mr. Brother has been sitting out in the paddock for 15 or 20 years. And you don't really need to split it when it's just going to collapse in half itself anyway, but we're getting close to the bottom here. Oh, I noticed there's also the tow hitch is slammed a pin in, and the tow hitch that you tow around on the back of your vehicle with is actually attached to the same log. You can see right about there. And it'll probably hit the off button or something as soon as it hits the ground. This is drawing itself through basically with just weight, just sheer weight alone. And of course those teeth. This is the brilliant thing. None of this is tungsten carbide tooth, obviously, coming out of the 1800s. You know, today's mitre saws are, but even that one there, no tungsten carbide tooth. This is basically another one, the same sort of thing. You know, this is just damn good quality steel, and somebody going along with a file, or may I suggest a cordless angle grinder like I've got, and making blades. so long as you don't run out of plasma cup blanks like that, and angle grinder discs and files, which you can obviously, files don't wear out terribly fast at all, you can just keep making blades and you'd be alright in a situation where it was damn near impossible to get yourself chainsaw chains, such as an economic collapse or whatever kind of apocalypse you want to suggest may occur, or may not occur, whatever. There we go. Thought I charged this phone pretty well, but my battery's getting pretty damn low. Look at this thing, look how simple the sheet metal is on it. Okay, looks like it's a blooming armoured vehicle. It's an old diesel. Field Marshal. Like a big blooming belt drive on the side. A couple of younger looking Lands Bulldogs. Get over here to the old stuff. Oh, yes. Can't help myself. This is much the same as that wreck that I've got that's collapsed in amongst the box horns. Actually, surprisingly like it, with all the wooden sides and everything. This is basically a complete version of what I've got collapsed in amongst all the box horns. So the use of all the wood for the framing, which is the same as the one in my place. Once again, there's your chain there. There's several different sizes. There's like 2 or 3 sizes of those chains, but that's a smaller one. And as a kid, I remember we had a hell of a lot of machinery using those chains, of course. And that's where it spits out your good grain into this bin here, which I think you just grab hold of a handle or something and she slides up and grain pisses out. There's your big cog drive in the blooming thing. Big cog which probably runs all your threshers and everything inside of that. Our Lands Bulldog. These ones will shake just idling, they always do. They're single cylinder, massive single cylinder. There's another guy on one. This is the one, first video he's trying to start. He's obviously got a decent paint job on it, unlike that one. These will run directly on crude oil. The sort of crude oil that we pull out of the northern parts of Western Australia, which is almost like straight diesel when you get it out of the ground. Then kerosene, and during World War II they run them on used sump oil. No big deal. Well, you know, we had a fuel shortage, so you had to do what you had to do. Cut off from the bloody world fuel supply. Hydraulics. This one isn't quite as old, it's probably 1960s. And often you see these, they're not always around. It's dual front steering. I got a license to drive stuff like that. Well, well. Never mind the drones coming. They don't mean nothing. Seven-cylinder General Motors diesel. Who gives a shit about the drones when you got one of these, eh? Holy cow. M3 Island Stuart Light tank. There we go, it's typical. Big blooming exhaust on the back of it. The turret isn't as heavy duty as all. That's not even 1/4 inch steel on the turret. Transmission. transmission with a big gearbox, gear stick.
It had a whole petrol motor. It's really creative.
Jerry cans, of course, a nice position so you can hit him with a friggin' rocket launcher, and all the other fan dangles. When you run out of bullets, you just change to this one. These are your radiator. A lot of your ones today, you've actually got your armoured louvers, and then like a big sort of a manifold, and then you goes into your radiator for your fan. But I mean, the stupid thing is, if you went over a landmine backwards, you'd blow the shit out of this, and before long you'd just overheat your radiator and you would be buggered. There's vehicles that we used to build the radiators for, they're radiators that have two fuel tanks, one outside and one actually inside, behind armour. Not exactly inside, but in between the armour and the cabin, you've got a reserve fuel tank, so when you get your first one shot to bits, your main one, you've got another one that's about a third the size that you can switch over to and just keep going. And that would be the big bloody ass Detroit diesel V8. I think it's V8. I don't think they've actually got the original in it, that other guy was interrupting and saying there's your little pistol ports to shoot out with your pistol. Ones in World War II, they used to have a rubber plug, in the wooden plug in the German ones, and you punch the back of it out, and then you could shoot through it with a pistol. And the idea of that was you could easily be inside the cabin and have a pistol, but not so much a MP44 or something like that. And if there's enemy troops running up behind you, to throw a friggin' grenade in the top or whatever, you could shoot at them through your pistol ports out the back. Of course, they sometimes have short and barrel rifles for use inside tanks, as the Russians and Israelis do. Flipping a big drive shaft. The engine's at the back, there's your gearbox, there's your drive shaft, and bang, out she goes and drives. Most likely through this right here. Intriguing. Never mind the drones, and you got a tank, eh? Just a decent sized one. I'll just show you this while we're here. Oh, cattle yard. Timber slab. There's your curve of your outside of the original tree, and they've just got logs and basically cut them into bits and dug holes and whacked them in the ground, and then compressed the dirt back around the posts, as my father does still. You don't use concrete for these. Back in the day you wouldn't get concrete. Well, you could, but it was a shitstorm to get it. Yeah, all friggin' wire together. If you can, you use bridge spikes to hold it together, but it looks like they've done the whole lot with drilling holes and just using wire. Bloody lot of nails going through that one, and then they've just hammered them flat on this side. That's rotten to hell. A lot of this is going to hell, as you can see with all the watching. And the ubiquitous BlackBerry overtaking everything. I'll be stuffed. They're in season and I didn't even realise. Quite alright, I might start eating these. Can't help myself. Probably sprayed the friggin' things. As you can see, I'm having a dream run. Furthermore, I don't have any juice on my fingers because they're not overripe. Half of them are ripe, the other half aren't. So the ones that aren't ripe aren't that overripe that they just go and put shit all over your hands. I tell you what, this is Well, he sidetracked me for about half an hour and I'm still going. Yeah, that's a 465 cubic inch, and she's obviously a pretty decent sized engine. Ah, 64 Buick. I think we've got a rat rod here. Might be slightly to surface rust. She's lowered, there's no question on that. Enclosed back wheel. Apparently there's a real pain in the ass to change the back tyre. And this is the best of all because I really see these. Actually, this is the first time I've been up close to one. That's off grid right there for you. I can't really see a great deal inside. That is basically an evaporative cooler that hooks to the outside of the vehicle on your windowsill and blows in through your window. And as you speed up, it starts working. That is off grid for you right there. The first coolers in cars. Evaporative coolers like that. Fill up the water, put your cap on. I can't see a damn thing inside there. I know a guy's a bit of an arsehole, and he's got a vehicle with one of those on the front window. Not that I've looked at it close, but intriguing. First time I've actually seen one up close. I did not notice this one before. Boiler. She's actually running. Start with the old camshafts assembly. These are steam pistons, which actually drives the thing. That gives you an idea of the internal water level. Couldn't tell you what the hell that vane assembly is. Might be something to do with blowing air or something, I don't know. Bit of 4x2 there. I really should go and get something real to eat. I'm just a bunch of blackberries. Get a bit hungry. What they're doing right now is setting up this one out here, and I believe is the jet one. If they get this going, we've got the other jet one still over there. Everyone's got the fighter jet. So I'm pretty certain that the single jet one is that one they got out there. And it's probably waiting for this guy to stop flying and fire it up. I don't know if you can hear it, I just heard it start up, starts whistling. I don't know if the mic's going to pick this up, but I can hear it whistling from here quite easily. And now you would be hearing it. only seen this stuff on YouTube, and here we are. Putting more of it on YouTube. Wait for the warm up, so you might be watching a lot of not much. Let me just shut it down again. Just went and got something to eat rather quick. Prices aren't as bad as I expected actually. Usually pretty expensive in these sort of events, but not this time. These guys have been arguing the toss more than 15 minutes about this blooming jet and if we're going to get it going or not. And while someone else is taking off. So way to go, talking on the cell phone, driving something out of the blooming depression days. Ugh, wind's probably affecting this. Well, unfortunately, it didn't happen. Something to do with they couldn't fly it. I would say it was to do with all the dry grass fire risk. So I had a fire extinguisher out there before. Still arguing on the toss about it. I think he's as disappointed as I am, probably more so. Anyway, you got to see it fire up, at least. Just hoping to see it go for real. On the show before, he's got it actually driving. Creeping along there. Chain drive. I think it may actually have a gearbox by the look of all the gears I showed you before on it. It's just more EMP proof lemon apocalypse transport.